Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm here with Jamie Hansen. She has just put out her latest single called Waitin' for the Weekend, and I am super excited to talk to her all about it. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, Austin. I'm doing great. Excited to chat about my new song.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear all about it. It's one of those songs that just like instantly catchy, makes you feel good, which is kind of what the world needs at the moment, so I appreciate you making it.
Well, thank you. That makes me so happy to hear. That was kind of the intention.
Normally, I like to kick things off talking about the lyrical content, but gonna do things a little bit different because we're
Okay.
recording this on a Friday. I want to know what are your weekend plans?
Yeah, I'm actually headed up to the mountains again with my family.
Very cool.
So we're meeting up with some family we normally don't see, and we're just gonna have a good time up there. So
And where are you?
I'm in Wyoming.
Oh, okay. I've heard it's beautiful. I have not been myself.
It it's phenomenal. You'll have to see it. It is
So,
pretty
like,
windy
yeah,
and
where are the
cold, but
mountains area? Like in Wyoming?
yes, yep. So
Okay.
I'm in Laramie, which is in the southeastern corner. So I'll be doing some camping in the Medicine Bow Range.
Sounds amazing. Definitely need to get out there one of these days.
You do, for sure.
Well, like I said, I'm loving the single, so let's dive right into the lyrics. It's
Yeah.
quite apparent what it's about, but I'd love to know what exactly inspired it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This song I wrote before a weekend outing with friends. We were going to go camping. We were going to go cliff jumping, which I hadn't done before.
Oh, wow.
And I was sitting there waiting for my friend to pick me up. And I was just kind of bored and anxious to get going. I just wanted to, go have a fun time. And so I broke out the guitar, wrote the song, and then played it for them that weekend.
So you got it done pretty quickly then. Sounds like.
Yes, I would say the basics. The
Yeah.
only thing that really changed about the song were a few of the lyrics and then the chord progression. We added a few more chords to make it a little bit more fun.
Got it. Okay, so then I kind of want to hear like the process of creating it because the production on the song is great. It's
Thank
got
you.
this very full and like grand sounding sound to it. Like there isn't a single bit of space that isn't occupying sound. Does that kind of make sense in a bit?
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
compliment, don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
I kind
I
of
can't,
want
I
to
guess
know, yeah, how did it all
I
come
can't,
together in the background?
yeah, I can't take credit for that part. I wrote this song in 2017, actually, so
Oh,
4 years
wow.
ago. And I knew this song deserved full production, but I wasn't really able at that point to make that happen. But this year, I got connected to a producer named Chuck Alkazian and a songwriter named Zach Radcliffe, and they're located in Michigan. So that was
Okay.
kind of a random connection. So once I knew I wanted to work with them, and they were so nice and generous to work with me because they're pros, like they're so
Sure.
good. And so I flew to Michigan and recorded with them. And Chuck and Zach basically built the track. They played guitar, they did the drums, they did the piano, they did everything. And
Cool.
Chuck is just kind of one of those intuitive people who he knows exactly what a song needs. He knows what it's going to sound like. And we kind of wanted to have both pop and country inspiration, but not pigeonhole ourselves. And so that was kind of the process. And then Zach, he really kind of coached me through the vocals. That's typically my main instrument is my vocals.
Sure.
I love singing, of course, but he has a way of just being able to try this and it works, so that was a really cool experience.
That's amazing. I mean, that's the hardest part about making music is one person can be so good at one thing. You can be amazing at singing, you can be amazing at playing guitar. But the whole production side of things is like the other side of your brain. As much as, you almost need that other half of a person to complete what you want. And it sounds like what you had going in mind was the final product, if I'm not mistaken here.
Right. Yes, they're the dream team. I
That's
needed
very
them.
cool.
I needed them for this song to really come to life. So
Very cool. So, yeah, I kind of want to talk about like the future. I want to keep the focus on the song, obviously, but I also want to know what are the plans for
yeah,
the
of
future
course.
here. Do you have other songs in the works? What's
Absolutely.
on its way?
Yeah, so this wasn't the only song that I did with Chuck and Zach. We did
You might as
at
well.
that
You flew all the way there. You're not going to do just one.
right. I'm like, that wouldn't be worth it. So
Yeah.
we did two other songs at that time, and
Okay.
then we're also working on four more. So our goal is kind of to release a single every 6 weeks if we can, or around that time frame. And right now I'm getting music videos done, trying to get content for those songs
Ooh,
just to keep people want visuals in addition to great music.
sure.
And just trying to keep the content going and making sure that it is authentic and that it tells my story the way I want to tell it. But I'm so excited for it.
Oh, I'm excited for it. I think every
Thank
good
you.
song deserves a visual representation of what you think is going on. So I'll
And
keep
I
I'll keep a
completely
personal
agree.
eye out for that. I know that.
Thank you. Thank you
Now,
so much.
as far as the other songs go, are you going to be looking to experiment on your sound? Or are you going to kind of keep it in that country pop realm?
I would say there are a few that kind of fit within the sound that you hear for Waiting for the Weekend. They might vary a little bit. The next song, and I'm not going to give away too much,
Please
but
don't. Yeah,
I
don't
think
feel like I'm pulling from you.
it has a grander feel.
Mhm.
I would say if you could think of like, this sounds kind of weird, but maybe a Disney song that's just very like big.
Sure, sure.
That's kind of how I feel this song is. But then there are some country pop songs, and then I have a song that I feel is a little bit more soulful, where it's got some augmented chords where I really just get to belt my heart out, and
Yeah.
that just makes me happy. So
Gotta have a
um,
really freeing feel to it, where you can just kind of
right.
get
So
the
I would say
energy.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go.
I just feel like I don't truly have a genre, which I'm not tied down to one sound, and that makes me feel like I can create anything I want to create.
Totally. That's so important. Because honestly, like I've said it in the past, there are so many musicians nowadays who just make a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But as long as it sounds like you, that's really all that matters. And then you don't pigeonhole yourself. Like you said, you can do
Right.
anything you want. If you're going to spend the time and you're going to use your resources making music, it should ultimately make you happy. So I
Right.
think that's kind of the goal here. I want to know about your inspirations. Like, who did you grow up listening to? Who did your parents have on in the car? Like,
Yeah.
what do you love to hear?
I guess I grew up listening to a lot of country. I'm from Wyoming, so it's very rural. A lot of, I would say, but kind of towing the line, like Shania Twain, Tim McGraw. I love Reba McEntire. My original inspiration, I think, was Leanne Rhymes. And then as I got a little bit older, obviously Taylor Swift, she's been a huge influence. And then I think my listening kind of shifted to a little bit of everything as I grew up, like pop. I love folk. I love old rock. Elvis
Mhm.
Presley. I love Michael Jackson too. So just pulling things from different genres because there's no point in listening to one. I love it all.
No,
Um,
no,
so, but I would say that the storytelling truly came from the countryside. And I think I'll continue to utilize that in pop music, or if I, you know, dive into Christian music, telling a story is important to me.
totally. And I think that's the most important part is kind of getting your story across. There's so much music nowadays that it's not about the story. People aren't listening to lyrics. It's just about how music makes you feel. But
Right.
on the side of country music, I think country music has always been geared towards telling the story. And the instrumentation side not necessarily takes a back seat, but it's always about this like imagery filled lyricism and exploring a
Absolutely.
person. And I think that's kind of what you're doing here. And I'd say keep doing that, but play with the
Thank you.
styles. So
Yeah.
um,
Thank you.
I think you've sort of answered this, but I want to go a little bit more into your process as an artist. It
Yeah.
sounds like the lyrics come first. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
More often than not, that's how it happens. I've always been, I think, fascinated, and I think most songwriters are fascinated by how changing one little thing about a line can change the way somebody views something.
Yeah.
And I just have so much fun with words where lyrics are obviously my main focus. And then if I have the lyrics, I can be like, okay, now I know. And typically that comes with the melody, I would say. I hear them both at the same time. And then I go and develop the chord progression or maybe change the chord progression to make it better. And then play around with what am I going to do on the piano to make it fun. But sometimes it does go the other way around, just not very often.
Sure. No, I know it's tough because like when you really want to make something, the inspiration isn't there. But it comes
Yes.
in the weirdest times in the weirdest places, and you're driving and you need to whip your phone out and sing into your notes app or whatever it is. Like
Yes.
that's the part of music that no one really knows. They think you just get in a studio and you're like, okay, let's start now. You can't turn your
Right.
brain off. It never really stops. So I think that
It's different every time, I think. And it is funny how it hits you when it's the like least convenient time.
right, right. Now, not necessarily on this single, but I guess in everything that you've made, is there like an overarching message that you feel that your music says about you? Like a feeling or something positive that you want to impart on people when they listen?
I think I think so. And it's something
And
I've
there's
been
no right answers here, by the way,
yeah, of
or
course.
wrong
I've
answers.
I've given this some thought. I think my strength as a songwriter and as an artist is that I feel things very deeply, no matter what that is, whether that's joy, whether that's gratitude, whether that's sorrow or whatever. I'm not afraid to feel that deeply and to express that. And I think that's my goal is to help other people process those emotions and to feel things. And that's always been something that's important to me. Why shove it down? Why just brush it off? It's important. You feel it. It's part of the human experience. We're all in it together. And
Yeah,
that's just been my brand.
right. It's like a form of therapy almost. Instead of sitting down and
Yeah,
talking to someone about your problems, get out a pen and a notepad and get going and kind of jot your feelings down and let the people know how you're feeling. There's
absolutely.
just being very open as an artist as a whole is like it's I don't know what the word is, but it's got to be scary at times to, because people are listening.
Yeah, it can be vulnerable. And even on this level, people criticize no matter like there's always going to be a certain amount of criticism, whether it's
Yeah.
good or not. Um, and so you just have to be willing to take everything with a grain of salt.
But,
And then also a lot of good feedback comes from being vulnerable. It's just kind of uncomfortable to receive it sometimes.
yeah.
um, Especially if what you're sharing isn't joyful and isn't, something super happy. But I was just thinking about this yesterday, how when you're really going through something, um, you usually have one song. And if that song puts into words what you're feeling, that song is forever. You can pinpoint that experience by the song you listen to. And every time you listen to that song, it takes you back to that experience. And I think that's part of why we make music is so that people aren't alone.
I love that. No, I feel the same. Like in my everyday normal life, I like DJ my own life. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this way. So I'm going to listen to this artist, or
Yep,
I'm happy. So let's put on the pump up music. And I feel
exactly.
that there's always a time and a place for someone or something. And you could fit that spot for a lot of people, with, depending on what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So you had mentioned right before we started recording that you got to play a show last night, which is awesome.
Thank
So
you.
first thing, congrats. Second
Thank
thing,
you.
how did the show go? And I
It,
guess the third thing, what's the set list looking like from you? What songs are you playing? Are you playing any covers or anything?
yeah. So this was a little bit different. This was a songwriting showcase, so not exactly
Oh,
like one of my
cool.
gigs, but I have been doing gigs as well. And so that was fun. I played three songs that I have recorded but haven't released. So it's kind
Nice.
of fun to get to hear people's opinions on it.
Nice.
Um, and had really great really great response to it, so that was a lot of fun. But these days for my shows, it's mainly my songs and then throwing in some covers. House of the Rising Sun is my ultimate favorite song to cover. um, I love making it bluesy. I think that's really fun. And so a lot of the old rock, like CCR, I love CCR,
Sure, sure.
Fleetwood Mac. I do throw in a little bit of Elvis with Heartbreak Hotel. Um,
Amazing.
so a lot of, I think a lot of songs that you wouldn't typically expect from me, but I just have fun branching out.
It's the crowd pleasers. It's for the people that are like, oh, who's this girl? And then you just blow them away with something that they're familiar with. That's how you make fans right there.
That's my goal, is to add a few more covers. It's kind of hard when you have so much up here with your own content, and I'm sure
Yeah,
a lot of songwriters struggle with this, but people don't know your songs. So that's a lot of
yeah,
new things to throw at them. So to
exactly.
have a cover that they can connect with and be like, "Oh, I really like the way she did this. So now I'm going to follow her." And then they'll jump into your music more. So
Right.
that's
So
what's
as you
important.
continue to add, songs to your normal discography, are you looking to sort of explore, not explore, but I suppose expand your touring? Like, do you want to get outside of local shows and try to set up, something in another state or kind of go around and do your thing?
Yes, that would be amazing. I think right now there are challenges with, I'm a solo act. I'm
Yeah,
traveling solo-y or solo. Yeah, I'm traveling solo.
I know what you're saying.
Oh, words,
You're
they're
right.
hard. But um, I would love to travel, and expand my market. I think
Yeah,
that would be really awesome. And I think when that opportunity arises, I'm just calling, I'm just trying to book as many gigs as I can, and get out there and see the people. And I think it'll happen when it happens. So I'm really
sure.
excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely don't want to rush that type of thing. I say keep on the recording side, keep on the producing side, build up your music. Obviously, it's never been easier to get your music out there, but it's also never been harder. Or it's, you know what I mean? There's just so many people doing things all at once. So,
Right.
go at your own pace, do what you're comfortable with.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and as you continue to tour, I kind of want to know, unreleased or released, is there a favorite song of yours to perform that you feel really just translates well live?
Oh, that's hard. Yes, there is a Christian song I wrote. Well, I guess it's Christian, it's about my faith. And I haven't recorded it. I haven't done anything with this song. But I always like, at one point in my set, I like to give that time to God. And whether people listen or not, I enjoy playing that song. And it always brings me down to why I do this and why I make music.
Yeah.
And typically it does have a good response. But I feel it more than I probably feel my other songs, which I love playing all of my songs.
Yeah,
If I didn't, I'd kick them out of the set list.
sure, sure.
But that song is just a different experience for me.
Yeah. I think that there's always a point in a lot of different people's set lists that, like, when you can feel a connection within an audience, that's when you really like create that bond. You know what I mean? Anyone can get up there with a guitar and a microphone and play, and people can listen. But unless you're like trying to connect with people that are like-minded, then sometimes it's easy to lose them. So
Right.
that's really great though.
Thank you.
Now, on a more personal note, I want to know, because we are a music blog and we're always trying to recommend people to listen to, and obviously we're recommending you. But are there any like local musicians that you'd like to shout out, or anyone, even that you're just like, yeah, I'm really digging this album right now?
Yeah, of course. My friend and fellow songwriter, Jared Rogerson, he is from Pinedale, Wyoming, and he's crushing it with live shows. So he's obviously trying to build a following, and he has really great music. We met at a Game and Fish elk tagging, randomly enough,
A what?
and then a Game and Fish elk tagging where they tag
What
like
is that?
they tag so they run the elk through and they tag them so that they can track them, and then
Oh,
they draw blood on some of them so that they can see, like, if they have a disease or whatever. It helps to manage elk population.
okay.
And so that was like the most random way to meet another songwriter.
Totally. Well, as a Southern California born and raised person that you're talking to, you just blew my mind with that information. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. It was my first elk tagging, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay. It's not
But
like a weekly hangout
no,
thing.
not for me.
Cool.
And then I don't know if you've heard of Ian Munsick. I've been listening to a lot of his music. He's
Not.
from Wyoming, and he just signed with Warner Nashville.
Oh wow.
So really, really excited for him. We don't have a lot of people from Wyoming who, make it that far. So
Sure.
that's really cool. And I guess current inspirations, but not like local.
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen, Tennille Arts, love their stuff. I think Tennille Arts is just really starting to make it. So that's kind of cool to
Very
watch.
cool. Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to check all those guys out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Jamie, I have one more question for you, and it's how I
Okay.
like to usually close these things up. Question is, for the person that is going to discover your music from this, and for the person that is going to sort of dive into the world that you've created, what is an
Yeah.
opening message that you would like to pass off to them?
Mm, that's a tough one. About my music or just in general, like
Like hello, welcome to my world, or like, just anything that you'd like to say to the person that's about to listen to you for the first time.
of course. Okay, well, first of all, welcome to my world because it really is my own little world. Um, I would say that my music is inspired a lot by my adventures in the outdoors. And if you love the outdoors, great. And all of those, the adventures, my faith, they fuel my music. I'm always going to write about what I'm going through, and I hope you can relate to it. There's something for everybody.
I think that's great. I think that's the perfect answer. Jamie, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I'm really happy that we could make this work.
Thank you for having me, Austin. This was
You're
a lot
very
of fun.
welcome. Yeah, and
Appreciate it.
for everyone else out there, Waiting for the Weekend is out. Stream it, listen
Go check
to
it
it,
out.
follow along. We'll have all
There's
the
a
links.
video.
There's a video on the way. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm really excited for all of it. I'm really excited to see what else that you put out in the coming months and years, and I'm sure there's a big career ahead of you. So again, thank you so much for your time, and I really hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too, Austin. I
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome. Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye.